Can't really think of a better way to start this podcast other than Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
The rise of the Skywalker person.
The Walker of the Skies.
The Walker of the Skies. It's here. We've seen it.
I've seen it twice.
You've seen it twice. I haven't seen it twice yet. I plan on seeing it a second time. I would have planned on seeing it a second time regardless of what I thought about it, because it's the War of Star.
Yep.
And I love the War of Star. But it's now time to discuss the rise of Skywalker.
And we'll jump in with my one-word review. Good.
Right, thanks for listening, folks. That's
all right. Let's go.
Yeah. So I guess we'll go a little bit of spoiler free for the time being, because it's still very much new out. It's not even been out for a week yet. So
I mean, if you haven't seen it yet, shame on you. What are you doing?
Yeah, with Star Wars films nowadays, you kind of have to talk about it from two different perspectives, don't you? People who are like, it's Star Wars, okay, yeah, I'll go see it, see what this is, the fuss is about. And then
the
there's
fan perspective,
the die-hard Star Wars fans, like us two.
Yeah.
But then again, saying that, it's almost like if Star Wars was an entity, it would be the definition of a paranoid schizophrenic with multiple personalities, because there are just so many different factions of Star Wars fans nowadays, aren't there?
Yeah, I was going to say, are you trying to describe the films itself or the fan base?
The fan base.
Yeah.
The fan base, yeah. Like, because, after The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi especially, it was almost all-out war between the fans.
Yeah, because you've got people that don't mind the new trilogy, people that hate the trilogy.
Yeah.
And usually it's for stupid reasons as well.
Yeah, there's people like us who like the new trilogy but can understand its shortcomings. There are people who just flat out hate it because it's not a carbon copy of the original. There's people who flat out hate it just because they wanted to hate it regardless.
There's people that hate it because it copies the originals.
Yeah, there's people that hate it just because they want to appear cool and edgy and like, I don't like this Star Wars film because I'm awesome. And there's people that love it regardless and won't hear a bad thing said about it. And so with all that in mind, The Rise of Skywalker is most definitely not going to please everybody.
No, and and they knew that.
Yeah,
like before they released it.
Absolutely.
J.J. Abrams came out and said, we introduced like new force powers, but not everyone's going to be happy with. Richard Grant came out and said, yeah, this is a very divisive film.
Yes, yeah. To try and sort of sum it up without spoilers at the beginning, it's, like you say, it's not the best Star Wars film. It was never going to be the best Star Wars film.
Well, no.
But it does feel like it's almost been played a little bit too safe by JJ for a lot of it. And the parts where he didn't play it safe, it didn't work.
Now, I don't really understand why everyone's saying, they've just played it safe in this one.
So, because there's been a lot... And this is the irony.
This is something we'll have to talk about in the spoiler.
Yeah.
Section.
Well, okay, so there is a lot... this isn't a spoiler. There's a lot of fan service in this film.
Yes.
But it's not the right fan service. The fan service that is the right fan service. It wasn't done in the right way, if you get what I mean. That is something that we can elaborate more on when it comes to spoilers. But do you understand what I mean there? And I think that's what a lot of people mean, or certainly that's what I mean by they've played it safe.
I think I know which points you're talking about.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah.
But it's a decent conclusion to this particular trilogy. What we said going into it, we just want, we want an entertaining film. It is an entertaining film.
It is, yeah.
At the end of the day, it's not the worst Star Wars film.
It's an entertaining, if badly paced film.
Yeah, the pacing is shocking.
Because they just tried to shove a load of stuff in.
It was breakneck. I can understand why it was breakneck pacing, but just strip bits away. It was weird, because it was almost like the complete antithesis, I think that's the right word, to The Last Jedi.
Where nothing happened?
Where it's like, well, no, stuff did happen in The Last Jedi, but it was like, okay, this is a film that's quite long, but not a lot going on. Whereas this is a film that isn't quite as long, but there is way too much going on. If you get what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure antithesis is the right word. Well, I might have just made myself look really stupid there.
Well, it's Chris Terrario that wrote it, who also wrote Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
And that's another example where they tried to shove way too much in the film, and it ended up reducing the quality of it.
Yeah.
I think if I take a step back and go, right, what story do we want to tell? And what's the most cohesive way we can get that across?
Yeah. I think, like we touched on just sort of briefly after we actually saw it the first time, one thing that is abundantly clear from this last film, and this isn't actually a dig entirely at The Rise of Skywalker, it's actually a dig at the trilogy as a whole. It was clearly, no matter what J.J. Abrams says, because he's come out and said, oh no, this was my plan all the way through, it was not.
No,
there was no way in hell. This is just a very ham-fisted kind of, this will hopefully get some fans back on side kind of attempt at closing off the trilogy and going, oh yeah, we've kind of been backed into a corner here.
A lot of people are saying that this was basically an apology for The Last Jedi.
Yeah, it was like The Last Jedi. It was like the sequel to The Last Jedi that the fans wanted but didn't get.
The sequel to Force Awakens, you mean?
No, The Last Jedi. You know, the Last Jedi didn't happen the way it happened, but happened the way the fans wanted it to happen.
Right, yeah.
It's a sequel to that film that we never actually saw, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best way I've heard it described. And I'm like, yeah.
I mean, they don't completely disregard The Last Jedi, I'd say.
Not completely, but they do retcon a hell of a lot. And it's this is the way I described it after seeing The Rise of Skywalker. Instead of it being a trilogy where there's a main storyline right the way through it that dominates pretty much the whole thing and then a few little side missions, it's a trilogy where there's like 2 or 3 little tiny threads of plot which just sort of leak into this side mission extravaganza.
It's like, and the side missions have kind of taken over, especially in The Last Jedi with Canterbury.
Yeah.
That was like...
awful.
40 minutes of what?
You got it to a certain extent in The Force Awakens as well, with that little bit on the on Han Solo's ship with the big monster that comes out. That felt very out of place. They just ramp it up to 11 in The Rise of Skywalker. There's just so many, they're all over the place, like plot-wise, and whilst a lot of it does sort of link in to the main plot of The Rise of Skywalker, that film specifically, it's just like a, oh God, please just stop.
I wouldn't say it was all about side missions in The Rise of Skywalker. It was all about the same mission, but it was very all over the place.
Yeah, it was like, right, we've done this, now we have to go do this, and that means we've got to go do this, and now we've got to go do this, and now we've got to go do this, and now we've got to go do this.
Some of it felt very convenient and easy for them to...
Yes. Yeah.
Which
definitely.
I'll explain about in the spoilers.
Yeah. But
yeah, as a whole, it's an enjoyable film. But I'd say a lot of it, like the pacing was off.
Yeah, it's a weird one because if we were, I mean, we are diehard Star Wars fans.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I think we're the kind of Star Wars fans that would have probably enjoyed this film just because it's Star Wars, which is nothing wrong with that. But if you're a kind of diehard Star Wars fan, a lot of people are going to be disappointed.
I don't think I would agree that I just like it because it's Star Wars.
Right.
Because I think The Last Jedi was a massive turd, essentially.
Right.
It had a couple of good scenes, but as a whole, the film was just a complete waste of time.
Right.
And I don't like that because it's Star Wars.
That's fair. See, I happily confess I do. If it's Star Wars, I will watch it and I will enjoy it, but...
Hence why I like the prequels.
I will feel disappointed. Like, I did come out of this film going, well, it was enjoyable, but personally, I still am disappointed because it could have been so much more than and so, you know, so much.
They could have gone in.
It could have been a lot tighter
and direction.
Yeah,
and it didn't have a cohesive plot.
No,
which is the main problem with it, to be honest.
Yeah,
bearing in mind, like the reviewers that are giving it like average scores are the same reviewers that gave Last Jedi like 9.5 out of 10.
Right,
and I'm just like that. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, the critics absolutely adored The Last Jedi, didn't they?
Yeah.
It's very rare that critics and fans go hand in hand, and a lot of the fans are giving The Rise of Skywalker a high score, and the critics have panned it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's a strange one again. So I think it's right that it kind of lies right in the middle of what the critics think of it and what the fans think of it. I think it's in that territory more than anything else.
Yeah.
I would have given it, like, if you said out of 10, I'd probably go, if I'm being kind, a 7, but it's probably more like a 6.5, maybe.
All right, I'd just go out and say 7, to be honest.
Fair.
I'd say it's a middle-of-the-road Star Wars film myself. I think when I did my rating, I rated Revenge of the Sith 5th place. I don't know whether it takes 5th or it's just behind it.
Right.
I think I'll need to watch it when it comes out on Blu-ray again to actually...
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go see it again. Like, I'll probably end up going to see it 3 or 4 times, like I did Last Jedi, like I did The Force Awakens. I want to go to IMAX. But, yeah, I think initially, just like my first...
regrettably, the one time I've seen a film in IMAX, it was The Last Jedi. A film I hated.
That's what you get. But if I was going to slot it in somewhere, I think I would slot it in above The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi was pretty low down on your list, wasn't it?
Yeah. So my list, the bottom was Solo. Then it was Phantom and Clones. Then it was Last Jedi. Then it was Rogue One. Then it was The Force Awakens. Then it was Sith Revenge. Then it was Hope. Then it was Jedi Return. Then it was Empire.
Yeah.
So I'd probably slot it above Rogue One, but under Force Awakens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair. Like I say, I'd probably put it under...
I think that was my list. I can't remember if I had Last Jedi above Rogue One or not. I think those two kind of interchange whenever I watch them.
Well, guys, if you want to go back and listen to the last episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so shall we get all spoilery up in this, Biznatch?
Yeah, let's do it.
Right, okay, so this is your spoiler warning. If you haven't seen Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker yet, you have been warned. Okay, spoilers. So, should we start at the very beginning?
Let's do it.
Because I'm going to try... I'm going to try and be as neutral as I can on this, because obviously we all knew from the trailers that Palpatine is going to be back in some capacity, and this was like almost immediately set the bar quite low for me. In the opening crawl, they go, Palpatine's back.
Yeah.
And there wasn't any big build up to it.
The opening crawl where they were just like, the dead speak.
Yeah.
I was like, really?
And then it was just like, oh no, you've got to do this big build up to that. Yeah. You know, not just sort of go, right, no, he's back now. And then I was conflicted because as soon as he got into that first opening scene, I was totally lost in it. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like the whole fight on, you know, it's
Mustafar.
So it starts with Kylo Ren. He's on Mustafar. He's searching for a Sith Wayfinder, which kind of looks like a Sith holocron. I wasn't sure whether that they just decided to change the name or if it's a different thing or whatever. And then, yeah, he's basically searching for Palpatine. And eventually he comes to this planet called Exegol, where Palpatine's been hiding out, goes through this all weird kind of laboratory kind of thing, which looked incredible. And
you also find out Snoke's a clone.
Yeah, and then again, it was just like, this whole opening is amazing. I am Snoke. Okay, right. They've dealt with that. That wasn't so great. And then Palpatine, you see his zombified look, which was brilliant. Oh, yes. Ian McDiarmid, I don't think he can do any wrong in that role. Mm-hmm. Like, no matter what you think again of the prequels, he's just amazing in it.
I know we're doing it. We're trying to do it in sequence order, but there's stuff towards the end with his character I didn't like.
Oh, fair. We'll get to that. It's fine.
Yeah,
but, I mean, you can talk about it now if you want. But like that whole opening sequence to me was just beautiful. That is what we want. Except that would have been great if it was like halfway through the film.
I was going to say. I didn't want that to be the opening scene.
No, but it was a good opening scene.
Because the problem it has is how is it going to keep up steam after they've shown that off straight away?
Yeah.
And it kind of shows. Because I think light speed skipping, as interesting as it was like, well, no, don't really care about it as much.
Right.
So the X-Wings that are chasing them, did they suddenly get the ability to track them through light speed like they showed off in The Last Jedi?
The X-Wings are the They're not X-Wings. They're TIE fighters.
The TIE fighters, I mean. Yeah.
Get it right, Josh.
Sorry.
I presume so, yeah.
So
I presume they put the technology into
they
them, otherwise it wouldn't make sense.
The whole technology down and put it...
I mean, it's a world where there's a magical force that makes you able to float stones.
Yeah, but they need to explain this stuff. That's the thing.
I think their explanation was just like, oh yeah, it was technology in The Last Jedi and now it's just been shrunk. Just take that as a given. I don't mind that.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't want to nitpick it that hard, to be honest with you. And I'll probably end up reverting back on that and nitpicking something further down the line. But probably. At the moment, I choose not to, Josh.
Okay, cool.
But yeah.
But I feel like in this film, there's so many characters that they tease that they've just completely gone and wasted.
Yes.
Knights of Ren being a massive example. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, the Knights of Ren, they feature quite, well, not even that heavily in it, I suppose, do they? They really feature in it, but the impact isn't...
They're in it for about 2 scenes.
Yeah.
Which are just basically tracking the protagonist and then the fight scene.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and to be fair, the fight scene was really good. That's one thing I will say. I loved. I've seen a lot of people sort of trying to pick apart some of the choreography in it, but I don't see how. I thought some of it wasn't as.
I don't understand why people have to pick up the choreography in a fight scene.
No,
just enjoy it for what it is.
The thing is, it's just it's not as awful and clunky as the original trilogy, because they didn't really care about choreography as much back then.
Clunky or McClunky?
McClunky. But it wasn't as totally out there as the prequels, which I did love. I don't care. I don't care that it was over the top.
I think it was a good mix between the two.
Yeah.
Because especially the fight on the Death Star, you've got Ray doing backflips and everything.
Yeah.
Which kind of felt a bit odd, if I'm honest. Because the backflips felt very slow. I was watching it and I was like, is she in zero gravity? Because it's taken her ages to just do it.
I just found it funny how they kept doing superhero landings and all I heard was Deadpool's voice in my head going, superhero landing! It's really hard on the knees. Because they do it, the superhero landing, 4 or 5 times throughout the film.
Yeah.
But no, the choreography was great. And I don't understand how people can pick it apart. A lot of it, sometimes it was flashy when it needed to be flashy, and then it was really raw and just fucking I'm gonna hammer you here when it needed to be as well. Like that bit on the Death Star when they're obviously both exhausted and and they're just literally just slashing at each other. And I really enjoyed it.
I'd rate that fight scene as maybe one of the best.
Yeah.
It's definitely up there, I'd say.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like it as much as Luke v. Vader in Return of the Jedi or...
Do you mean Empire?
No.
Really?
Return.
You're right. I mean, the best lightsaber battle we've had is just obviously Anakin versus Obi-Wan.
Luke kind of channeling his anger was
fair.
Really impressive to see.
Right.
Obi-Wan v. Anakin, really good. Would rate highly. But I also really like Ray versus Ren in Force Awakens.
Yeah, that was a good... We could do that another time. Rate all the lightsaber duels in Star Wars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, moving on.
We have to give an honourable mention to Phantom of the Menace. Phantom of the Menace. Phantom Menace, because obviously that is absolutely literally what you are waiting for in that film.
That is the only good point of that film. And Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah.
When we're talking about the wasted characters as well,
yes.
Sith Troopers were heavily teased as well.
Yeah, and they didn't do anything.
I kind of thought they wouldn't really.
I thought that'd be
much.
the case, yeah. It was just look how cool this toy is going to be, and your Christmas stocking, give us money, kind of thing.
What's the name from the Americans? Carrie Russell's character.
I liked her character.
Liked her character
but
too.
It was just she's just sort of brought into it, and you go, right, here she is, and it's
and you don't see her till the end of the film.
Build her up more. Her character was really cool. So, why have you not had her in, from Last Jedi or whatever?
Because they didn't have a plan for the trilogy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And then you get, I can't remember the other lass that comes into it that used to be a stormtrooper.
Oh, yeah.
She was really ham-fistedly brought into it, I thought. She was, no offense to the actress herself. Jannah was the character's name.
No pun intended, but it felt very forced.
Yeah, you intended that pun, don't
I definitely did.
Yeah, there was a lot of things like that in the film where it was almost just like it was a snap decision out of nothing, and like something as far along the like, well, why are these characters here? Why would that character do that? General Hux.
Yeah.
That was pointless.
Yeah, that really annoyed me when I first saw it.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, I just want Kylo to lose.
Yeah,
like,
I can understand it, and that was actually one of the things where the build-up was actually there.
It makes sense for his character.
But it was almost, it just didn't sit right.
After his speech in The Force Awakens, where he's just basically going red in the face, like screaming about how they're going to take down the Resistance.
Yeah.
It didn't really gel with his character to suddenly turn sides just because he doesn't like Kylo.
No. It's like there's a little bit of build-up there for it, but not enough for him to actually follow through with that. And it's almost like they just sort of went, oh, right, we need a new evil bad guy, so let's just get him out of the way, and then it just sort of switched to Richard E. Grant's character.
Who I quite like, to be honest.
I liked, but again, it's just like, there's no build-up for him. It's just a case of, right, he's now the bad guy, and then, oh, look, yeah. It's
like we don't know anything about these characters.
Yeah,
but they're just shoved in.
Yeah, so you don't really end up caring about any of them.
I guess that's for the diehard fans to go look at the comic books and stuff that are going to be linked to them.
Yeah.
But again, you're only going to get the diehard fans doing that. Like, mainstream audiences are just going to think, who was that character? Plus, the bit between, is it Jannah and
Finn.
And Lando at the end.
Yeah, what was that about? That didn't make any sense.
Where are you from? I don't know. Let's find out.
Yeah. Speaking of totally wasted, Lando. So badly wasted. Again, he was built up in the trailers to be quite a big part of it, and he's not. No. Quite simply, he doesn't really do much. Most of his interaction is with Ray and Poe, and you think, well, no, surely you'd want that to be with Leia and Chewie, like the characters that they obviously know each other.
Yeah, it's like the scene where he goes, "Oh, give Leia my love," and she's like, "Do it yourself." It was like, yeah, why not do that yourself? Talking about characters that are not wasted, though, Leia.
Yeah, no, what they did with Leia
and C-3PO, because oddly, both of them are kind of the heart of the story. A lot of the emotion comes from the both of them. Yeah, a lot because Carrie Fisher passed away a couple of years back.
So every I'm glad they went down the route of, extra footage and didn't do any major CGI work.
They did a little bit.
They did a little bit, but I mean,
it's fair enough.
Yeah, but they didn't go, right, let's just CGI her in and have new lines of dialogue that she never said. I actually think the way that they handled Leia was perfect. And especially obviously the way she eventually goes out. Brilliant.
Yes, I love that, yeah.
Which we can then talk about now. So in our last podcast, we talked extensively about how we don't want Kylo to turn back to the light because it would be terrible and it'd be a total waste. And what they did was turn him back to the light, but actually in a way that made us both go, well, that was really well done.
Yep, I actually
How
really
did they manage
enjoyed
to
it.
do that? Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
So, I mean, quite happily stand corrected in that sense. Yeah. So,
but annoyingly, in the last podcast, one of those theories was correct on almost everything.
Yep.
So I started seeing similarities, and I was like, "Oh shit!
Yeah,
this means Ray actually channels all the Jedi ever." And I really didn't like that scene.
I didn't like it when we described it in the last podcast, but when it actually happened on the screen, I was like, "Yeah, all right, yeah, sure."
Now I didn't like it at first, but on second viewing, I was like, "Okay, this is." Not as bad.
What we will say is, well, obviously you'll have seen it, is how very, very close to Avengers Endgame it was.
It wasn't even that close.
I mean, literally, Palpatine goes, "I am all the Sith," and she goes, "And I am all the Jedi." And it was literally...
You're reaching there.
I'm not reaching. It's very, very similar. I don't think it was intentional because they will have been filming at very, very similar times. So... it was not an intentional thing.
There's a similarity,
it was similar, and it was quite funny.
But when people are like, "Oh my god, it's just Avengers,"
it's not a rip-off.
No.
I'm not saying the whole thing was Avengers. I'm saying that specific.
I did read an
line
article
of dialogue
that said they were ripping off the Avengers just because of that one scene.
Oh no,
no,
it's not a rip off at all. Not at all. But yeah, there was a lot of that theory that we read. So there was the Palpatine shooting the lightning into the sky, which I've seen a lot of people complaining about that. I thought that was mint. The only gripe I have with that is that no one died.
I enjoy. Yeah.
And again, but that's not a gripe with that scene in particular. That's a gripe with actually this trilogy as a whole.
The thing is, it kept feeling like Finn was going to die at one point.
Yeah.
But they just didn't.
Finn or Poe, like, have the balls, kill one of them off, kill one of the main characters off. Like, obviously, in the end, Kylo goes.
Yeah.
Or Ben. But it's just like, yeah, he kind of had to, though. Like, that was he was always going to die.
I was thinking maybe one of the endings was just going to be they just keep force healing each other and snogging each other.
Yeah. That was a bit inconsistent, that force healing thing. I didn't mind it. I thought it was a good force power, and it has been seen before in Star Wars canon.
Yeah,
but it was a bit inconsistent.
It's been in Knights of the Old Republic, which isn't canon anymore.
Right?
Has it been in any others?
It's in the Mandalorian.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Okay. I don't think I'm up to that point yet, so.
I aren't either, but I've seen it.
Okay.
But it's not a spoiler. It's just a tiny part of it. Also, you see it in the first episode, Baby Yoda trying to do it. Sorry, spoilers for Mandalorian. If you haven't seen Baby Yoda by now on the internet, you've been living under a fucking rock. Yeah, because he goes over to do it, doesn't he? And then the Mandalorian stops him.
Force healing?
Yeah, he goes But, it was inconsistent, because it's like, so she does it on a worm, that's absolutely fine. She does it on a big worm. Sure.
I can't wait to see the sequel. Ray Skywalker, veterinarian MD.
Yeah. She then does it on Kylo after he's got a fatal stab wound. And then the only way I took from it is that he wasn't dead at that point. And she was dead when he did it to her. And that's why it drained his entire life. And because they were weak from Palpatine draining them, that's where I took it from. But if you think, like...
I wanted it to be a power that only Rey had because she is a descendant of Palpatine.
Yes.
Like, maybe. You know...
Oh, yeah. That
could use the Force to save the ones they loved.
Influence the midichlorian and Yeah. I suppose, yeah. Well, that was one theory we were correct on and we really wanted. We wanted Rey to turn out to be a Palpatine of some capacity, and she does.
Yep.
And it wasn't handled very well.
No.
Ironically.
The announcement that she was a Palpatine was so wasted.
Yeah. If anything, that should have been, how they should have played that is when she actually meets Palpatine. He's the one who tells her. And he tells her to search your feelings.
I mean, not like that, but yes.
But like that. And then, but...
Kylo announces it.
I'm not going to complain about it because it was the theory that I had and I wanted so dearly. And we got it. And I was happy that we got it.
Yeah.
I did actually do a mini fist bump to myself in the cinema. I went, yes. I was like, yes, I knew it. Rey Palpatine.
It was great. The shittiest announcement ever.
It was, but we got it. It's fine.
Yeah. And Dark Rey looked pretty good.
Dark Rey, although again, massive red herring, but we kind of knew that, didn't we? Yeah. Yeah, Dark Rey did look pretty good. Where she...
See, like we say, it's a lot of fan service to the original trilogy.
This is what I mean, yeah.
Dark Rey essentially being kind of like on Dagobah with Darth Vader. We get the Ewoks at the end.
Luke's X-Wing. Yeah. Obviously Palpatine in general. The way he returned to his sort of former self.
Yeah,
Not the zombified version of him. God, what else did we get? We got Han Solo back in a cameo, which I really wasn't expecting.
No,
that was good. You got a lot of voices from past Jedi that we've seen in the movies and TV shows. There was a lot of fan service in it. I feel really bad for complaining about some of the fan service because it's just like, it's almost like we're then admitting that no matter what they do, they can't win, but they can. It's
True.
Just that I think what they really, really needed to do was just, like you say, take a step back, think about it, just take your time with it, not rush. And this felt very rushed.
Yeah.
The film is very, very rushed.
Yeah, like I say, the fan service, basically Rey finding out she's connected to someone that's already in the trilogy, kind of like how Luke found out that Vader was his dad. only done in a different way. That's the thing. A lot of it has similarities to like the original trilogy, but it's done in a different way.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, okay, well, I can see why they've done it that way. And Ray basically training under Leia.
Yep.
Lifting rocks.
Yep.
And all that.
Levitating.
Yeah.
Jumping over things. I think
I was just hoping to see Leia just clinging onto Ray's back, just as Yoda did.
Like Luke, like Mark Hamill did in that picture.
Yeah.
That'd have been great. But yeah,
I really enjoyed the new stuff they did with the Force.
Yeah, I don't get why people are complaining about it.
Like the way their Force visions are on another level at this point.
I loved, like I said, that was one of the key things and the great highlights of The Last Jedi was the dynamic between Ray and Kyla and the Force connection, bringing them together. And again, it's probably the highlight of this film.
Yeah.
Them two, like their characters were really, really well written. And I think it would have, the movies would have been even more harshly treated if it wasn't for those two. No offense to Daisy Ridley, but especially Adam Driver. He has been brilliant in this trilogy.
I mean, a lot of people diss the character of Ray. That's a lot of what people take issue with.
Yeah, and I don't understand it. Again, a lot of their reasonings, they just go, well, she's a Mary Sue. And you're just like, but why? And they can't really give you a proper reason.
I think her being a Palpatine maybe explains the Mary Sue theory.
Yeah.
But
she's just a powerful Force user.
Yeah. Like, the thing is, the original trilogy, you're either powerful in the Force or you don't have it.
Yeah.
It's like, fair enough.
But there's a lot of things that Ray does in this trilogy that Luke does in the original trilogy, and nobody complained about that.
No.
So, can't have it both ways.
You know, how Finn's basically Force sensitive.
Yeah.
And
see, a lot of people complained about that as well, and I always thought he was slightly Force sensitive.
Okay.
Yeah, I got that from The Force Awakens, that he was slightly Force sensitive.
I mean, it was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind it. No, It doesn't change anything for me. I thought it was just an interesting kind of concept that I went with.
It's hard to remember a lot.
It's hard to remember a lot because so much happened.
So much happened in this film, and like I say, I've only actually still seen it the once. Just trying to remember some of the key points in it. You said there was something you didn't like about Palpatine's?
Yes. So at the end, he basically wastes about 5 minutes saying, "Oh, Ray, you're going to strike me down. You're going to get angry and just you're going to become the Sith. Sith will be reborn. The Jedi will die." If he hadn't said that, Ray still would have gotten angry and just slashed him.
Possibly.
She would have.
Don't know.
We didn't need 5 minutes of, you're going to take me down and you're going to take this throne.
Literally what he does in Return of the Jedi, but okay.
Yes,
I will say some of the dialogue written for Palpatine was a bit iffy. I will admit that. Like, it was very much, they just sort of went to let's just go to the stock Palpatine dialogue here and pick this out, like, pluck it out of stuff that potentially wasn't used in previous films.
Yeah,
but like,
it was a bit.
But again, it's like,
I think the performance.
He made it work because he's just such a brilliant actor, especially in that role.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think there was anything about Palpatine in that film that I didn't like. I think I just loved everything they did with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only gripe I've said, it could have been done perhaps in a different order.
Yeah.
And again, it's fine. Sure. We're not going to get that, so who cares?
The thing that really annoyed me about the film was the dagger. And how convenient it was.
Yeah, I didn't like that. That didn't feel very Star Warsy to me. That felt very more Indiana Jonesy kind of thing. Yeah, that's fine in those kind of films, but
the whole this seems to line up with a specific point of wreckage on the Death Star.
Yeah,
it must be over there then.
Yeah,
it just felt like no, that's just way too easy. Like such an easy way of explaining yourself out of it.
Yeah. And it's like, like that Death Star rubble could shift at any point in time and it could all be lost. Like, it could erode away.
Yeah.
Come on, that's not a very clever way of doing it. Like, it would have been so much better if it was a case of use the Force to find it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And,
it's made out to be as if it's like an ancient dagger or something, but it must have been created within the last 30 years since the Death Star went down.
Yeah. Yeah. Although I think they were talking about the language of the Sith. That's what made it seem a bit...
Yeah.
Yeah. But that whole thing with 3PO and the language of the Sith, that was quite funny. And again, that's another thing they retcon. Again, one of the very, very, very big issues I had in this film is that they did a lot of fake out stuff.
Yeah.
So, in the sense that, right, Chewie's dead. No, it's not. It's fine. Literally, the next second,
next scene he's
back. Like it wasn't good. And then it's like 3PO. Oh no, his memory's going to be gone. Oh no, we got it back. It's like not all of it, but most of it.
Yeah.
And it's just like right, okay, right, great. And then Ray's dead. Oh no, she's not. She's alive. They did it with Kyla about 3 times. No, it's exploded. No, it's fine. Oh, look, it's fallen down a hole. Oh, no, it's all right. He's stabbed. Oh, no, it's going to be all right. It screams of, again, that's the whole playing it safe aspect. They didn't have the balls, really, to try and actually kill someone off for good, which is a bit strange considering that apparently none of these actors will be back for any future installments, or the main ones anyway. They don't plan on coming back.
I still think they should have killed Finn off.
Finn, Poe, even if it was just one of them, have the emotional weight there. Because
when he stayed on the Star Destroyer, I was like, okay, so he's probably gonna bite the bullet and he's gonna sacrifice himself to save the Resistance and everything like that. Which is kind of what he was trying to do in The Last Jedi. That would have been a perfect end to his arc in The Last Jedi. Yeah. Well, he didn't really have an arc, if I'm honest, in The Last Jedi. Anyway.
No, but I meant over those two films at the time. If it was just like blew up that cannon, that'd have been great. But again, chickened out of that as well.
Yeah. So it's kind of like they keep towing the line with it, and they're like, right, we're going to show this off, and then they're like, wait, no, we can't do that.
Yeah.
It's like they're worried about fan backlash if they killed off Kylo, let's say, when Ray stabbed him with a lightsaber. It's like they thought people were just going to go, nope, I'm just going to, suspend all disbelief and everything like that. When really they should have, well, I'm not saying they should have killed him off at that point, but they should have just stopped faking everything out.
Yeah. It should have been when it was Chewie, that should have stuck. Because that, again, it was a really emotional...
It was, but I'm glad we didn't get that because of Chewie's reaction when he found out that Leia died.
True.
That was one of the most emotional parts of it for me.
Keep C-3PO's memory wiped. Because they can't be in it forever. Well, actually, technically they can, but they just have to replace Anthony Daniels if when he eventually dies. But they had to do something and they didn't. Yeah.
I guess I know what you mean now when you say playing it safe. Yeah, I'm trying to think of when else they faked out.
I think those were the main ones.
Yeah.
Because there was I think they were the main ones. But yeah, so there was a lot.
Yeah,
there was a lot. Like I say, it's by no means the worst Star Wars movies, but it's not. It's not on the level of obviously like the original trilogy,
which I didn't think it would be.
No, I didn't think it would be, but these films had the potential that they could have been, and unfortunately, they went in the wrong kind of directions. You would say going forward, what you would want is Kevin Feige producing a Star Wars trilogy, whether that be set prior to the prequels, whether that be set after these films, I don't mind.
Old Republic would be great. Lando and Janna spin-off.
No.
We'll find out where you're from.
I would be very happy if they went, no, right, okay, the next trilogy is going to be set after this, and it's going to bring back Ray, it's going to bring back Finn, it's going to bring back these characters, but it's Feige producing it, and they have a solid plan from start to finish.
Yeah.
I don't mind in the sense that if it's 3 different directors, but it's got to be one or the other.
But they have to follow a pre-planned story, I think.
It's got to be a story that they know exactly how it's going to go from start to finish. And it's got to have, alongside that, either Feige producing it all the way through from the first film to the third film, or it's got to be the same director directing one, the first film through to the third film.
Or Favreau and Dave Filoni producing.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Because Dave Filoni's done amazing work on Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yeah.
And now he's on Mandalorian. And he just seems to be going from strength to strength.
I think what I would prefer is I'd prefer
Feige, I think.
I'd prefer Feige doing a actual trilogy of films, and I would prefer Filoni and Favreau, once they're done with The Mandalorian, to then do the Old Republic TV series.
Yeah, I'd be on board with that.
Yeah, that's what I'd very much prefer.
Or what if they did the Obi-Wan series as well?
Happy as well. Yeah, happy as well. Can't wait for that.
Maybe they run like the Star Wars TV unit, and Feige can finally run the film unit.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Yeah, are we that lucky?
No, we're not.
We're not that lucky.
Kathleen Kennedy's not been fired yet.
No, not quite.
One day.
Well, I mean, she got credit where it's due for getting Feige, Favreau, and Filoni back on board, the three Fs. Credit for her to getting back, those back on board, but I think she does need to take a step back or a step down. And, really, really think about it before the next trilogy is released. Yeah.
Just let Feige run it all.
Yeah,
I mean, the man knows how to pre-plan.
And is a massive Star Wars nerd like all of us, so fingers crossed that is the next step for the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, whatever it may be, I think we're both quite excited for where it could go.
Yes. That's the good thing about Star Wars. It's like the possibilities are almost infinite.
Yeah.
You could go anywhere.
You could go anywhere.
Huge galaxy.
All they've done so far is focused on one set of characters.
Yeah.
So
I think that is it now. I think the Skywalker stuff is done and dusted.
Shit. Talking about the Skywalker stuff, we didn't even talk about the actual ending for the film.
Oh, yeah, we didn't, did we? Yeah, let's go on that.
Yeah.
So, the ending for the film.
Horrible.
The actual scene, I didn't mind. It was the dialogue.
The scene was fine. I just didn't like...
It's the... Oh, what's your name? Ray. Ray what? Skywalker. No, she's just continued with just Ray.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
As they say in sex education before the guy starts wanking in the canteen, control your own narrative. Own your own narrative.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think of a yellow lightsaber?
Liked it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Thought it was pretty cool.
I mean, it's not the first time I've seen a yellow lightsaber, because they do it in like Knights of the Old Republic and stuff like that. It's first time we see it on TV, on like the big screen, I guess. So that was quite interesting to see. But yeah, I quite liked it. I don't feel the need... I don't think she had the need to bury the other two lightsabers, to be honest.
No, I didn't either. Right, but
I suppose it's symbolic of burying Luke and Leia because their bodies became one with the Force, kind of.
I'm wondering where she got the kyber crystal from.
Yeah.
If it's just a case that she took the green one and the blue one out of Luke and Leia's and then just put it together, because blue and yellow make green. Or if she actually went and hunted down a kyber crystal.
She must have done something like that.
Yeah.
Because I know you've not played Fallen Order yet.
Not yet.
But part of it has to do with the Empire destroying like all the kyber crystals.
Yeah, they destroyed a lot. I don't know if they destroyed them all, did they? Because there's part of that in Rogue One. Because Palpatine actually hated lightsabers.
And that's why he doesn't use one in the later trilogies.
Mm-hmm. He thought it was beneath him.
Yeah.
It was nothing compared to the power of the Force.
And that's why in Battlefront 2, he doesn't even use a lightsaber. He just uses Force Lightning.
Yep.
I've been playing Battlefront 2 lately. Kind of gotten back into it.
The original Battlefront 2 or the...
No, the PS4.
Right, okay.
It's pretty enjoyable.
Fair.
Yeah. They've updated it quite a lot since it was first released.
Fair.
Because it was pretty bad when they first released it.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, all the loot crates and everything. It's now a good game. So Star Wars
for me in Fallen Order. Yeah, I think have we got any more to? I mean, again, it's something where once we've seen it a couple of times, we could potentially talk more about it. But I think that's.
I think that's it, really.
I think I've exhausted everything I can say for the time being until I see it for the second time, and probably either enjoy it way more or come back and be like, "Oh, it was all shit." But I think I'll probably enjoy it more the second time round.
Yeah, I think I enjoyed it more.
Yeah,
to be honest. Yeah,
yeah, fair.
Maybe because the original shock and stuff of what happened wasn't there anymore, so it's had time to sink in. So I was like, yep, she channels all the Jedi. Okay, I can prepare myself. And I was like, actually, that wasn't as bad as it first was.
So hung up on that bit.
I really hated it at first.
Fair. Yeah, I remember you saying.
Hearing all the voices and everything, and I was just like, this is just major cheese. But yeah, it wasn't as bad as I thought.
No. Well, I'll see what I do. I'll see what I feel second time round.
Yeah.
Hopefully tomorrow.
Hopefully tomorrow, in IMAX.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you go IMAX today?
No,
not yet. Are you going to see it in IMAX?
I don't know. Maybe.
I'm going to go see it in IMAX.
Nice.
I can't wait. Right, so that has been our spoiler-free and then spoiler talk about The Rise of Skywalker.
Yep.
I hope you enjoyed it.
We'll catch you in the next one. All right, well, see you later.
Bye.
Bye.